When you look at a compost heap, you may just see a pile of dead leaves. When I look, I see an ecosystem, as alive as any rainforest. Legions of tiny creatures, thrips and springtails, beetles and bugs, insect larvae, worms, slugs and snails, not to mention the myriad fungi and bacteria, all locked in a life and death struggle, feeding on each other, feeding on the stuff we add to their pile. There are a number of ways you can build a compost heap. You can just put it in a pile and it will rot down in its own good time. But that's not a very efficient way of doing things. Anything you put on the surface will be picked over by the wildlife and strewn around. So in effect, what you're really doing is just feeding the rats. I'll show you a better way of doing it. This is what I have here at home. And every week or so I put in a bag of my kitchen waste, clippings, stuff like that, peelings, and I add a few handfuls of wood chip or grass clippings if I've got them. And then after a few weeks, that bin's full, and this bin comes into action, and what we end up with is lovely brown compost that you can spread on the soil and let the worms do the rest. These bins have secure lids so that you can put anything in them, food waste, anything like that, and the vermin can't get to it. Bear in mind that this is a digestive process. The bins are like giant stomachs, and you don't want to give them anything too big to chew on. And don't give them too much wood chip or grass clippings at any one time. You don't want to give them indigestion. This would be ideal for a small block of flats or a private garden. But it wouldn't handle the kind of volumes of green waste that I get down at the allotment. So come with me, I'll take you down there and show you how I do things. So this is what I've got down here. They're old cold water tanks. I've turned them upside down, cut the bottom off to make a kind of lid. Now I've got three, so one of them is always being filled up with green waste. One is rotting down and the other one is pretty much ready to use. So every 6 months or so I get enough compost to cover my entire growing bed. That's compost. So in future, don't throw it away, compost it. It's alchemy. You're turning base metal into gold.